Hello there guys, it's Chris at Folly Models. Right now we're cracking on with the next project. Well, I'm just going to show you the next two little projects hopefully I'm going to work on, amongst possibly other things as well, now that we are moving rapidly into autumn. It's a silvery grey autumn day out there, but in here it's a little lighter. So what we've got here, this is now Eastern Express. This is a Russian company apparently. Certainly looks like Russian lettering up there. So this is a Russian company. This is the English Electric Canberra Mark 8, the B1 Mark 8 in the Strike version scheme or upgrade. Personally I think it's the best looking one. I mean, the Canberra was a beautiful aircraft, real success story for the British aircraft industry as well, apparently. So yeah, I think this is basically like a reboxed Frog model. I think this company, Eastern Express, goes back to like '92, and I guess they must have bought out certain molds. But yeah, I think this is like apparently a reboxed Frog. Anyway, let's take a look inside. So, yeah, I mean the artwork is pretty basic. It's a fairly nice sort of depiction of, like I say, the Strike version to Canberra, but it's pretty basic artwork. So, open up the box. What we got here? Nice hefty plastic bag. All the sprues piled into one bag. It's actually quite. It's a fair size model. It's not a small plane. It's a fair size model. So let's open this up and see what we've got in. Look there. There we go. Over there. So here's all the plastic piled together. But these kits are not expensive anyway, they are pretty cheap. So again, they're good beginners kits, even though I think the panel lines are raised. Actually, they're very faint. In fact, the panel lines aren't really raised, are they? In fact, they actually might be indented. They don't seem that raised. They're not very well defined anyway. I think they are slightly raised. Yeah, it must be if it's an old Frog kit anyway. So I've learnt. But yeah, so the panel line detail, yeah, it's raised. It is very, very faint. You can't really see any. I mean, I can't really see any. And I'm right up close to the thing. Anyway, so we've got the canopy, the glass. There. There's a nice little sprue. The others, we've got four sprues. That's got your wing section, and other fuselage items, and the pilot. The pilot is actually, there's virtually no detail on the pilot whatsoever. Virtually no detail whatsoever on him. But no, that's probably not the clearest. View. And the same with this. That's another sprue there with the tail sections and some more undercarriage sections there. Again, you can see on the wing. Really, I mean, this kit needs rescribing. Whether I do that or not, I'm not sure yet, but it does really need rescribing. Some nice transfers. The transfers look Yeah, these decals actually look good. They're good quality. Good quality decal. Mind you, I'm assuming that they haven't actually been put on the aircraft yet, but they look pretty good anyway. Straightforward. And then we've got the instructions. Well, what part is for instructions? Again, very basic instructions we've got here. Give those out of the way. Basically it's 2 pages. 2 pages of instructions, so it wouldn't take long. Certainly wouldn't take long to get this primed and glued together. Again, the cockpit area, it's very basic. Virtually no detail at all, so it's like just scratch building if you wanted to do that. But at the moment, I'm just building models straight out of the box. One on the reverse, this is basically the paint scheme. And the decals again. Very, very basic. This is the English Electric Canberra. That's the RAF version 1952. That's actually the paint scheme I'm going to finish the aircraft in anyway. Which is that one there. There's a better picture there for you to see. In fact, I think that's the only version that's the only option you've really got. The only option you have on this kit. But yeah, so it looks like it's going to be that one anyway, which is fine by me because that's like I say, I think that's my favourite version. I think Airfix have made a recent version of this one, but I'm not sure that's an old tooling either. Okay, guys, so that's one of the little projects. That's one of the models. Put those over there. The second one is this little beauty here. That's this little baby. Now this is an aircraft that probably my favourite aircraft, even though I've never built one. And I know it's blasphemy to say it, but I prefer the Mosquito over the Spitfire. Iconic and brilliant though the Spit was. There's something about the Mosquito, I just love the whole history about it, the way it was literally built in a furniture factory. And it's such a beautiful looking aircraft. It's, you know, light and fast. It's kind of ahead of its time in a way. But yeah, fantastic plane. I was lucky here because this kit was actually given to me by someone. I think they got it as a present. But they made a real pig's ear of it, basically. Let's open her up anyway. Sorry, incidentally, it's the Havilland Mosquito. It's the Airfix. It's 1/72 scale, and that's the NF.MK.II, which is a night fighter, and then the FB, the Mark 6, and the fighter bomber Mark 18. There's 3 versions you can do, which there's the night fighter there. The second is the RAF. No, you can see it better. So the first version is the night fighter, which is rather a dramatic picture on the front of the box. You can see there it is. It's like a Heinkel's been shot down at night. I mean, they were on special missions, these Mosquitoes, at one stage of the Second World War. They did some very brave, incredibly daring raids right into the heart of Germany, literally over the airfields, literally over the German airfields themselves. But anyway, enough of my pseudo-historical waffle. So they got the night fighter version, the RAF version, and I think that's the Australian version. But the version I'm going to do is the time-honoured, the classic camouflaged RAF version. Which there are no other illustrations on the box for that. So as I was saying, I'll get this thing open. Yeah, this kit was already started. Someone and made a real pig's ear of it. So it was caked in this yellow paint, as you can see there. I've already got to work sanding. Well, it took a considerable amount of sanding, in fact, to get it all off. It was really ladled on. So I had a lot of work to do getting that off. I've still got some more sanding to do. You can see the difference between where it's been sanded and where it hasn't. Sorry there. Yeah, so the top one's been sanded, that's not, the bottom one's not been sanded. Anyway, so see the undercarriage, that's all got to be, I've removed some paint off that already, but that's got to be, I've got to get in there with some kind of sanding, very fine sanding, and get rid of some more of that thick paint off, and then she should be okay. Fortunately, the whole aircraft wasn't painted in this, it's just certain top half of the fuselage and top wing areas. The rest of the sprues not been touched. So yeah, there's a wing there. That I've already sanded a lot of that off, but there's still got to be more. But then I'll just prime it over. The details, all the rivets and the details and the panel lines are still pretty defined on it, so the damage is pretty minimal really. In a way it kind of makes it more a challenge trying to get it done. We'll see what result you're going to come out with. Say that they'd already glued together the oh dear, the memory space on the camera ran out. Ho hum. Okay, so now just to round off then with the de Havilland Mosquito, that's the Airfix 1/72 scales. That's the second half of the little project update I'm showing you here. And here we've got the Airfix instructions. Somehow, I think they're turned inside out. Yeah, they have. But instructions are the usual, fairly good quality Airfix instructions. Which a lot of you will be familiar with. It's got five sections to actually model, and then we've got the really nice artwork, or the colour, the paint schemes on the back, paint and decal schemes. I've got that straight for you, it's alright. That's all over the shop. There we have that's the fighter bomber, that's the Mark 18 version. That's RAF Northcotes in the spring of 1945. So that's the version I will be making. The other version, that's but that would also be interesting to make. I just don't particularly want to just do an all black colour scheme at the moment, but that's the de Havilland Mosquito. It's the 23 Squadron Royal Air Force earlier on in the war, November 1942. Very straightforward. Good painting instructions. So, okay, well that's it for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed my little ramble. So that's the projects we're working on. Next. Thanks for listening and watching. Happy modelling. Take care all.